In three, go.
Okay. Um, Karibu sana and welcome to the Elimu Digital, the podcast where we explore intersection of technology, leadership, and the future of African education. I'm your host, Cindy. Today, we're having a very honest conversation about the biggest elephant in the room, teacher burnout. Globally, education experts love to talk about the 30 to 1 teacher burden. But let's be real. Halekwa ground here in Kenya, having only 30 students in a class is an absolute luxury. Our teachers are routinely handling 50, 70, or even 80 learners at once. So between grading mountains of books, decoding complex CBE rubrics, and staying up until midnight, praying the next portal doesn't crash when you upload scores, the exhaustion is real. We are asking our teachers to be superhuman. So how do we fix it? How do we use technology to take away the administrative work so teachers can actually just teach? Joining me to discuss how we finally solve this is Dr. Wandera, the CEO of TFA Learning. Dr. Wandera, karibu sana to the show.
Thank you, Cindy. Cindy, I'm thrilled to be here and excited today to talk about this subject that is incredibly close to my heart and to the mission of TFA. And I just want to say to everybody out here that the TFA, we provide innovative solutions that enhance education experiences. And we want to deliver outcomes to both learners and educators. And how we do it, our approach is just by engaging interactive content with robust assessment and a comprehensive solution. So I'm excited about this journey and talking about our success here.
Yes, we're so pleased to have you. So let's get right into it. When people talk about educational or education reform, they love to talk about the students, the syllabus, the infrastructure, but we rarely talk about the sheer administrative weight placed on our teachers, our Elimu. So from your perspective, what exactly does this burden look like on the ground?
Oh, the burden in the ground looks like exhaustion. It looks like a passionate educator spending the entire weekend marking papers instead of resting or preparing for dynamic lesson. So when we talk about this big shift to competency-based education, we are asking teachers to move away from a fixed way of learning where they focus on end-term exams to a continuous, highly detailed assessments. For a teacher with, let's say, 30 or more students, trying to manually track every single student competencies, grade every assignment, write individualized feedback. It's not just difficult, it's mathematically impossible without sacrificing something else. So usually what gets sacrificed is their personal time or the actual one-on-one mentoring time with the students. So what we're trying to do at TFA Learning is to recognize that if we don't solve this administrative overload, we can never truly improve the student outcome.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's a very sober reality. And so, and naturally, when we start talking about solving these massive systemic problems, the conversation immediately turns to technology and artificial intelligence. But there's a real fear out there when I meet up the teachers and attend the conferences. The teachers hear AI and many hear automation. And when they hear automation, they fear replacement, right? So how do you address that at TFA Learning?
Yeah, I want to address this head on because it's a valid fear based on how some tech companies have poorly communicated this value. So let me unequivocally be clear. At TFA, we do not replace teachers. We empower them. So that's the key thing. And AI is a fear too. But technology can do a lot of things. It can process data at lightning speed. It can store infinite records. It can analyze trends. But do you know what AI cannot do? So AI cannot look at a student eye and tell or realize that they had a bad day at home. AI cannot provide human empathy, inspiration, and mentorship that a great teacher provides. So I think the value of a teacher is still there and is very important.
Yeah, that's actually very true. something that AI cannot do. So if the technology isn't there to replace the teachers, then what exactly is its role in a class?
Well, the role of a teacher now changes.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI becomes an ultimate teacher's assistant. So think about having
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's going to help you in the classroom do some of the things. So when I think
Mm-hmm.
about it, I think that we want to create a unified learning environment where
Mm-hmm.
technology handles the data, so teachers can
Mm-hmm.
focus on teaching. So if a
Mm-hmm.
teacher is spending 15 hours a week grading formative assessments and filling out progresses reports, they're acting as a human calculator. We
Mm-hmm.
want to take that 15 hours and give it back to them. So our goal is to shift that paradigm from a fixed instruction and administrative overload to a dynamic environment where teachers just
Mm-hmm.
facilitate the knowledge. They're armed
Mm-hmm.
with deep insights and they can
Mm-hmm.
look at the platform that has curated that background for them.
Okay, that sounds very interesting. But now let's really break it down into detail. So walk us through how this would actually work. Say a teacher just administered like 30 assignments to 35 students, and then in the traditional model, usually 35 papers to carry home and mark. So what happens in the TFA learning ecosystem?
So in the TFA learning ecosystem, those assessments are integrated into our AI learning management system.
Mm,
So because our content is built with the UDL, Universal Design Learning, and we also
mhm,
know that we need to add the learning experiential so that they can experience learning, the
mhm,
assessments are engaging and interactive. That's one
mhm,
thing that we promise. As the students complete these assessments on their devices, then the AI
mhm,
LMS is grading them in real time. But it
mhm,
doesn't just stop at giving a score of 8 out of 10. The AI
mhm,
breaks down the data, it maps out the students' answers directly to the required CBE competencies, which is really neat because you can see
mm,
more data that is insightful.
yeah. That's actually very incredible that it is able to align the competencies based on what the teacher is teaching. So it so that means that the teacher isn't just getting the usual grade book per se, but getting a diagnostic report, right?
Correct, correct. And
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we provide is actionable analytics. So that means that they can
Mm-hmm.
take actions on the data they get. So when a
Mm-hmm.
teacher opens the dashboard, the
Mm-hmm.
platform has already done the heavy lifting. It
Mm-hmm.
might highlight that 80% of the class understood the core concept,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll specifically flag the 5 students who are struggling with a subtopic. So
Mm-hmm.
furthermore, that automated reporting feature can come instantly to generate a progress report. So we want to integrate the parents too, so they can receive that and the school administrators. So
Mm-hmm.
this completely removes the bottleneck of end-term reporting. There's a
Mm-hmm.
seamless collaboration between the student, the
Mm-hmm.
teacher, and the parent. That communication is
Mm-hmm.
vital for the success of the student.
Yeah, because it
Mhm.
keeps everyone in loop. One is the learner has everybody who's needed around them to support them, from the parents, the teacher. So that's really nice. So I imagine as a teacher, if I was a teacher, I imagine that completely flips the script, right? In the normal Monday morning class.
It changes everything. Interesting.
Mm,
Imagine
mm,
instead of working in a classroom on a Monday, handing back papers
mhm.
from last Wednesday, the teacher
Yeah.
now with a targeted strategy. They can
Mm-hmm.
confidently say, I see a few of you struggle with a specific math concept on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a 10-minute highly fidelity tutoring session on it right now. This
Mm-hmm.
is what I call timely interventions. It ensures that no
Mm-hmm.
students fall through the cracks simply because the teacher didn't have time to manually uncover the struggle. Mhm.
That's really nice because now everything that we discussed and emphasize how TFA does that for the teacher. Let's talk about how this is our learners. Let's look at the learners. When a teacher finally has room to breathe, as you said, how does that actually improve the student success?
It's a direct correlation. So when the teachers are
Mm-hmm.
exhausted, lessons
Mm-hmm.
become fixed or static. They
Mm-hmm.
rely on rote memorization because it's easier to manage. So when you remove that administration burden, teachers
Mm-hmm.
suddenly have that mental bandwidth to be creative. They can leverage the
Mm-hmm.
gamification aspects of a platform. They can then facilitate interactive critical thinking discussions. So we see an
Mm-hmm.
immediate spike in student engagement because the learning becomes personalized. The student feels seen,
Mm-hmm.
not just as a face in the crowd of 30, but an
Mm-hmm.
individual learner whose just specific needs are being met.
Yeah.
And one, Cindy, want to point what one special thing for the school administrators listening, the ripple effect, it reaches you too. With our platform, now you have continuous monitoring and deep insights of the institution performance. How is the school doing? So you can make better data-driven decision and resource allocation for the teachers.
So it's definitely an ecosystem, both for the student, for the teacher, and the school administration. That's really huge. Dr. Wandera, this has been an incredible and enlightening conversation. It's clear that to fix the education system, we have to start taking care of educators and providing them with the necessary, needed, modern and robust tools, so that they know how exactly to work around that. So as we wrap up, what is your final message to school directors and teachers who are watching this?
So my final message is simple. You do not have to accept the burnout as the default state in education. So the future of learning is a partnership between us brilliant human educators and intelligent digital tools. So if you're ready to streamline your administrative task, if you're ready to boost your student outcomes, and if you're ready to truly empower your teaching staff, then TFA is your partner here, and we're excited for you to come and join us.
This is wonderful. This is really amazing. And so for listeners who want to learn more about this unified learning environment, where can they find it?
Oh, you can visit us at Tutor for Africa. You can also reach out directly to discuss how we can customize a customable, scalable solution for a specific institution. So whether you are K-12, grade 1 through 12, or your vocational college, a TVET, or a business just looking to upskill your workforce, then at TFA, we're happy to talk to you and give you some customized solutions to help you enhance success in your institutions.
Yes, that's really insightful, and I've definitely learned something today. Dr. Wandera, asante sana. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Cindy. JD.
Okay, and that brings us to the end of this episode of the Elimu Digital. To everyone who tuned in, join the conversation in the YouTube comments below. Remember, we are not just adapting to the future, we are building it. So be sure to subscribe, leave us a like, and join us next time as we continue to explore how we can strive for achievements together.